I got lost at sea. I was about 60 miles off the coast of West Australia, near the 𝐕𝐸𝐽 Islands, and my boat had a hole in the bottom of the hull and it was sinking, and it actually sunk right down to the gunwales. And I hadn't checked the weather that morning, and the weather came in strong because there was a cyclone up north of West Australia, and it came in strong, and we were being hit by 30-foot waves every 5 minutes, and the boat was basically sinking. And there was 2 hammerhead sharks circling the boat. And so, so it looked like death was inevitable because we were miles away from anyone. And I had my girlfriend with me at the time, who I ended up marrying. And my girlfriend, I looked across, she was in the water, I was in the water, we were both in the water, we were both suffering from hypothermia. And I looked across at her, and it just broke my heart open that I'd actually cost her life, because it was me that didn't check the weather. It was me that didn't do the right thing. And in that moment, I felt this unconditional love that I'd never felt before. And it was just so beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever experienced. And at that time, I was 33 years old. I'd retired from business some 5 years before. And I was doing very, very well. I had a multi-million-dollar company. But I realized that the armor that I'd put on to become a successful businessman was now in the way of me experiencing love. And I had had this taste of love, and I wanted more of it because it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever experienced. And so when I went and did a retreat in Italy for 5 months with a spiritual teacher. And when I came back from that, I realized I had this armor on, and I didn't want the armor on. So I walked into my companies and I gave my companies to my staff, along with 14 offices of furniture, all for nothing. And all the money that was owed to me, I gave to my debt collector so he could start his own debt collection company, which happened to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I walked out with nothing. I walked out as a total bum, took my shoes off, and started walking around Australia in search of my heart, because I felt that my heart was more important than any amount of wealth.
Yes. Did you find it?
Yeah, I did. And that changed my life completely. I ended up in soup kitchens because I ended up as a bum. I was looking to become a nobody going nowhere, because the big somebody that I'd always been was in the way.
Yes. Yes.
And it was just nice to not know anyone and be a nobody going nowhere. No one had expectations of me. I didn't owe anything to it. I didn't have to try to be someone special. I was just a no one going nowhere, and I loved it. And in that openness, I found heart, which made me have an understanding of love. Love is perceived when we're open. It's not perceived truly when we're closed.
Yes. Yes. I agree with you completely. And it kind of reminds me of, the Japanese saying about how the cracks are the most beautiful because that's where the light shines in. And I'm misrepresenting the actual quote, but it's the hardening, the walls that we put up, the shrouds that we wear, the ways that we protect ourselves, that's what's actually keeping us from real connection, from real love. And so I really like what you did, and I'm wondering what then happened. Like, what did you do with this awareness? Did you immediately feel compelled to do something with it, to share it, or to just be with it?
You're right, I did. So what I realized was, as a businessman, and I was never ever going to go back to business because that wasn't something I wanted to do. I realized that I wanted to share and I wanted to take care of people, but I didn't have the skill set. So I went back to university and I trained as a naturopath and as a psychotherapist so I could have some skills to help people with. And then I started a psychotherapy naturopathic business.
How long did you do that?
10 years, well, 9 years, I think, 9 years altogether. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. You've had such a fascinating journey. Now, I'm in love with the stories, and so are my listeners. We love the story. That's how we connect. But they also really enjoy actionable things that they can take away. So I'm wondering if someone doesn't necessarily want to give up all their belongings and walk barefoot, is there something that you can recommend, a practical path, a tip or a suggestion on how we can begin the process of awakening right where we are?
Yeah, you got to see what's in your way. If you can't see what's in your way, you can't proceed. It took me a while to realize that what was in the way was closure, defendedness. And what supported the perception of love was openness. And if I had have seen that before I walked around Australia looking for my heart, I may not have had to have walked around Australia looking for my heart.
Yeah.
And so I started practicing openness, no matter what. I dropped all defensiveness, no matter what. Any belief system that caused contraction in me, and I went to defense, I started to undo the belief system because I wasn't interested in being without heart. I just loved it. I loved the beauty of the way of the heart, which is commonly called the noble path.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And so if someone wants to start with that, they have to begin by letting down their guard and becoming present with themselves.
Vulnerable.
Ah,
It's a horrible word, but that's it. Vulnerable.
yeah.
Instead of defended, open.
Yes. Yeah. It's a horrible word when you haven't done it a lot because it's scary, the unknown. But when you practice it, I actually think it's quite lovely.
Well, you get used to it after a while. In the beginning, it's a bit frightening to be vulnerable, but after a while, it just becomes ordinary. It becomes your way of being in the world,
Yeah.
vulnerable and open. And it's very sweet. It's
Hmm.
because when you're vulnerable and open, you are in touch with heart and you find you just want to take care of everything and everyone because that's how heart or love affects our minds.
We want to activate it. We want to serve. Now,
Mm.
I'm wondering from a male perspective, um, you know, do men keep their strength while opening their hearts? I mean, masculinity has a whole lot of connotations to it. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I go to Taoism on this one. There's the yin and the yang. And the
Hmm.
yang is the outgoing, which is more male, and the yin is the receptive, which is more female. To really be in touch with heart, we need to be more yin, which
Mm.
means you can be a tough guy, but you can't be contracted. You have to be open. And in openness, we find love. In openness, we are yin. In closure and outgoingness, we are yang. And most humans, male and female, are yang to a large degree nowadays.
Yeah, I believe that.
The women are becoming more emasculated, and the men also. And really, yin is so beautiful. When you're around someone who's operating from yin, you feel warm with them. You feel welcomed by them. When you're around someone who's really yang, there's like a clash or a banging into
Hmm.
something.
Hmm. There's a competitiveness. There's a little bit
It's
of aggression.
competitiveness.
Yes.
There's a toughness,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and we talk about tough. It takes more courage to be open than it does to be closed. So someone who's genuinely tough is actually open and vulnerable, not closed and covered in tattoos.